Discover a breathtaking 3D world.
All right, the other big story from the last week or so, Nintendo has announced Pokemon X and Pokemon Y for the Nintendo 3DS and not the Wii U. We've brought Mike Damiani, our resident Pokemon master, to talk about it.
Yeah.
Mike, first of all...
I don't know if that's by choice or by my
by
job.
default.
Yeah.
You became a secret master of the Pokemon for Pop Fiction, right? You weren't
Yes,
really
master of playing that game for hours and for too many hours.
And the brand new beard to kick off 2013, I might add.
Yes, it feels nice.
Keep your face warm.
It's going to be
I
on Mitch's
kickstarted
mode.
that beard.
So first of all, I think the big story here is why are they making, and it's 3D, it's not a 2D, even though they kind of did pseudo 3D with the last couple games, a full-on 3D polygonal Pokemon game made for the 3DS and not the Wii U. Mike, why do you think they've decided to do this?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean,
Really?
Yeah, I'll agree.
I can
I don't see it as that surprising. They have always said in interviews, Game Freak and the developers, that they believe that one of the key selling points for Pokemon is that it is a portable franchise.
Why is that?
People like to take it on the go. The original games trading, you had to actually like take the link cables over to someone's house, link the Game
But
Boys
now,
up.
obviously,
Now
with
it's
the trading and battling, you could do that on the Wii U with no problem.
They want to sell more 3DSs.
But don't they need to sell Wii U's far more badly than they need to sell more 3DSs?
I think it would cost too much.
I think
you know,
they-
I mean, another reason you're talking about the 3D stuff. I mean, that's how many fucking little pocket monsters are there now?
I mean, I think it points back mostly to
gremlins?
they have
400.
tried, they have attempted to do some Pokemon games in the past on consoles.
They were terrible, though.
People kind of like
They had,
Stadium
I
too.
mean, they had
thought.
the,
Well, Stadium 2 is just a battle simulator.
besides from Stadium, they had, well, one of them did have the mini RPG adventure in it, then they turned into a Gale of Darkness. I hope I got that correct.
Well, there was the GameCube one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Pokemon XD, if that's Gale of Darkness. That one came out. It was a more traditional Pokemon game, but it lacked the traditional overworld. It was the point and click
It was
location
terrible.
thing. I just remember it was
I mean, they did
non-stop battle with an NPC. You'd walk worse than any other Pokemon games. You'd walk 5 steps, another trainer to battle, and there was no way to go around. It was all corridors.
It was just crap.
frustrating.
Like, the production values were terrible. What I'm talking about is, and I mentioned this on the show before, like, take as much time and put as much energy, money, resources, your best studio into it, just like Square would with the Final Fantasy game. Give it those production values, have the 3DS version link into it somehow so that they're kind of talking to each other. But how big would a full-on, and I hate this phrase, AAA console Pokemon game be?
I
don't know, man. I still think it. I mean, I know a lot of people grew up with Pokemon, but I still think it generally skews younger. I think it keeps ensnaring young kids.
But young kids
who have the 3D,
buy the Wii
who have
U
the,
and
who have the
I mean,
3DSs,
they don't
and like
buy
you
it,
said,
but-
they go to school. You know, they play with their
Yeah.
friends, they trade with their friends. I mean,
We're not saying you have to abandon. Let Game Freak make that
saying like a
3DS
supplement
game.
to like.
Right.
But I
a
still think that's
console one.
that's Pokemon Stadium 3, where you
No,
do
no,
take
this
it.
wouldn't be a
Like
stadium. It
no,
would
I'm
have
saying
its
an
own.
adventure, like a whole
I know, but
adventure
I'm
on
just saying
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
see.
I guess the
With
thing is,
full-blown cinemas and voice acting.
that would be
and-
nice to see. I'm sure a lot of people would like to see like a dedicated like.
Don't
console
look at me, I have
Pokemon.
never played a Pokemon game in my life.
You're more
What
of a
would
Yu-Gi-Oh
Marcus?
guy,
What kind
right?
of Pokemon game would Marcus want to play?
I like
Pokemon
Snap.
strippers.
But I understand where you're coming from.
God.
You want to see.
They've never done that.
You want to see because they haven't done it. It's just for the sake of actually seeing it like that. And I guess the problem is, does Nintendo have, or the Game Freak and Nintendo have the resources to make that type of game right now?
It's worth it though. If you have to build a studio to make that game, it's worth it.
I think they just see how much these portable games sell. They make 2 of them. Like they just clone a game, put a few different events.
And look, I'm
different
not saying
Pokemon.
stop making the handheld versions. That would be idiocy because they sell like hotcakes, despite the fact that they completely repurpose them time after time. But to me, the Wii U needs a shot in the arm right now. And if they had announced a game like the one I just described, instead of this game for the 3DS, I think it would have been a much bigger story, and I think it would have helped Nintendo's bottom line a lot more than.
They probably just didn't have it ready to go, or they weren't even considering that yet. They probably didn't know Wii U would be in whatever situation it is now. I mean, obviously, it is probably not. I would argue, yeah, it's not as successful as the Wii up to this point, I believe.
Oh, it's not even close.
But I don't think they could have perceived it being what it is right now. So they had to wait do kind of do a wait and see, and the amount of resources to go into developing that supposed
But see, you
AAA
can do
Pokemon
wait and
game.
see when you're talking about a game that takes 3 years to build. You have to decide, commit, and execute. You can't just be like, let's wait and see how things go, because at that point, if they wait, when does that game come out? In year 4 or 5 of the Wii U's life cycle? As Nintendo has shown time and again, after year 3 or 4, their consoles just kind of fritter away. So that's something that you have to make a business decision on when you get ready to put that console out. Like,
Yeah.
that game should have been in development already for a year and a half, is what I'm trying to say.
In the best case scenario, it would have been nice to have this. It definitely, I agree with you that it would be the Wii U could really use that right now,
Yeah.
and
Even just the announcement of it,
and like it's
saying it's coming
almost-
in 2014.
It's
even.
almost like common sense. You have you had that type of Pokemon game on Wii U, in addition to the 3D, the portable one. You're not alienating that fan base there. You're just giving them more to play with.
And then if
It
you
can
tie the
only
two
be
games in, you're
win-win.
incentivizing them to buy the handheld one and the console version.
I think it just goes back to what I just said earlier, is that I just don't think at the moment or in the past they haven't had the resources allocated to doing that.
Yeah.
They just strictly focused on the portable games. They know that's a guaranteed moneymaker for them, and they know that that's what the fans, both the dedicated fans and then like the broader fan base, that's what they want. Like, average person playing Pokemon, like, I believe they always are going to prefer probably that like portable one and over maybe a console one, just because they're so used to it being groomed after playing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But the portable games have been their established thing. I think it's, to cut it short, it's just Nintendo's playing it safe. They know this is where the money. This is where they know the money
can't play it
is.
safe anymore, though. I don't think
A
Nintendo
Wii U
can.
console one is a big risk for them. And in the past, they can only point to these games have not sold in the past very well. There's no assurance that it will sell well, although most of us would probably think you put a quality caliber version and just up the production value to be on a console, that makes sense to sell. But to Nintendo, I don't think they necessarily think that way, at least.
I think the
people
cost-benefit analysis
Yeah.
would maybe be a little different, because it would
They're
be
making
really
Pikmin
expensive.
3.
Pikmin
Pikmin never sold more than 1 million copies ever.
No, I'm just the
I
amount,
don't know
I
how
would
much
venture to
that
guess
game
the amount
costs
of
to
art
make, though.
assets.
And I would
Pikmin
even
3.
venture to guess that the GameCube Pokemon game sold better than Pikmin. Even as bad as that game was, I bet you it sold more than Pikmin.
Yeah, but the best-selling Pokemon game that's not a portable one is Pokemon Snap, which is again kind of tells you something about the
Which
audience.
sold like 3 or 4 million copies, though. Granted.
Yeah, well, I don't know worldwide, but yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure it broke 1 mil in the U.S. And that was a game that I think that game's really fun, but it's also again when you talk
Over
about
in
when
2
you talk
hours.
about when you talk about audience and stuff like that.
So let's talk about X and Y.
Yeah, let's
Obviously, we
actually
got
talk
off on a
about the
tangent
real
here, but I think
game.
it was important to discuss what are the big deals with X and Y other than the 3D graphics, which seems to be what they're kind of hanging their hat on at this point.
I guess the biggest deal always is what are the new Pokemon. They showed off the 3 starters. I do not have their names memorized.
And probably couldn't pronounce them even if you did.
I just think the designs of them are getting further and further off from what I liked about the original ones when I eventually did get around to playing them. Although one of them looks like, I just keep calling it Firefox because it looks like the mascot of Firefox.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's calling
Well, one's
it
like
that.
a frog, isn't it?
Like
Called,
Frogy,
like-
Frogy,
That'd be funny if they were old web browsers.
Froky. I don't even know how to pronounce their names. And then the 2 legendaries, that's where the X and Y, because they're kind of like the shape of them. They also reveal their names. I have zero idea what they're called. But yeah, again, it's new Pokemon. I was just more enthralled that like they were finally doing this completely in 3D.
That is the big story.
And it's on
isn't it?
3DS. It took so long for this to happen. It's going to
Well,
be.
they kind of had to if they wanted to make use of their system, right? And the fact that it's the 3DS.
I wouldn't have been surprised if it was still.
That's what I'm waiting to see, the street and spot pass functionality, the whole
Yeah.
like trading Pokemon, how they're going to incorporate that. I'm probably more eagerly anticipating what we're going to do with that, because most of my time on my 3DS nowadays is on Street Pass with Find Me and
Yeah.
the puzzles. So any type of that
That's
thing, it's
sad.
so easy. It's so
That's
easy to
sad.
just bring that along and get engrossed with that stuff and addicted. Pokemon has something like that where you just like equip a Pokemon and it's set to like auto trade if you come across people, and that's how you get different Pokemon, or certain
could be really cool.
Only certain Pokemon evolve if you make a
Trade
trade.
them, yeah.
They'll definitely make that stipulation.
Oh,
I
I'm
can't
sure,
unsee
because they've
that.
already used that before.
And then I'm sure they have other new stuff they'll show. I will say though, looking at that trailer, there were some parts that looked a little spotty to me, like the frame rate and stuff. But they're trying to say it's like a game early in development. But the fact that it's coming out in October, that's the big thing. The biggest thing is that it's coming out worldwide, everywhere in October. Yeah. When these games historically have had a delay on them, it's another sign that Nintendo gets the global market that. Come on, give everyone the game at the same time. Why do we have to wait for this localization? You know in advance it's going to take this long to localize in all these languages. Just make everyone wait for it. Let everyone have it at the same time, especially when they're online now. Let everyone play with each other. Yeah. I think they're doing the right thing with that. Hopefully they can do that with more of their franchises so there's almost no delay between the releases, and other companies do that. That's probably the most exciting thing for people to look forward to is that, oh, it's coming out only in Japan in October. We'll have to wait till next spring. No, it's coming out everywhere in October. So kudos to Nintendo for actually doing that for once.
So PlayStation Vita is our next generation portable handheld gaming system. And when we first started looking at this 3 or 4 years ago, we said there's got to be a better way.
All right, so we're going to close out our first show of 2013 with everyone is going to give one prediction for the year. We've brought Justin Spear on to share with us his prognostication for 2013.
That's a nice jacket.
That is a nice jacket.
Thank you.
And we'll start off with you. You've had plenty of time to think about it.
Just one?
Just one prediction for 2013. Try to make it bold.
I had about more AAA sequels. No?
I think you might get that one
Not
right.
good enough? Let's maybe, I don't know what everyone else is going to say. Probably, I think, more free-to-play stuff. Probably all MMOs will go free-to-play, more people.
Do you think they'll go free-to-play right out of the gate? Or do you think there's like the thing that's happening now where they release it first and then like 3 months later they're like, oh crap, we got to go free-to-play?
I don't know. I mean, you know, you might as well try to make some money up front, but I feel like that's just going to become, you know, more game types are going to be doing that. More people are going to be making free-to-play things that are actually worth playing. So,
already starting to see that trend here or back in 2012.
I'm not quite psychic. Also, Vita is going to die. Oh wait, that's an observation. So,
you don't think that's a prediction? You think that's just going to happen?
I think it's like flopping around now.
This year, you think it'll die?
Well, I think support will largely cease for it in 2013. I just don't think I can keep it up.
Okay.
So I did like 3 there. Sorry, I couldn't eat just one.
All right, fair enough. Marcus, what's your big prediction for 2013?
The PS4 will come without any backwards compatibility, which will piss people off until they announce that Gaikai are going to be streaming all the old games into the system, because obviously they're going with a brand new system for the PS4, all off the peg components. They're not going sell. So PS3 games will be streamed into the PS4, and you'll probably have to pay a subscription for it.
Makes sense. Ryan, what's your big prediction?
There's going to be Kickstarter comeuppance where things do not hit their deadlines and maybe some more quasi-scandalous things happening. And I don't think, I think projects are still going to continue to be funded on Kickstarter, but I think there will be a general kind of global unconsciousness trend to be a little more wary with dropping the dollars. Or things completely overreaching their realistic goals.
Okay. My prediction for 2013 is that the Wii will drop in price either before or right at E3. And I believe they'll do a very similar program they did with the 3DS, which is like an ambassadors program where the people who had already bought the console get some kind of special gifts. I see the Wii U struggling for the first 6 months of this year pretty heavily. I know Pikmin's on the way. Pikmin was always kind of niche. I love the game. It never has sold extraordinarily well. For Nintendo to hang its hat on that game for the first half of 2013, that's a tough sell. 3DS, I think this is the year, despite what I said earlier about how kind of iPads and tablets have taken over that space, I think this is the year that the 3DS shows that it's going to be just like the DS and be the dominant handheld in the space. It may not be as successful ultimately as the DS was as far as worldwide sales are concerned, but I think this is the year where the 3DS kind of puts its foot on the Vita's throat and says, I'm the champ. I don't think the Vita is going to go away. I think they put too much money into R&D in that system alone for them to just be able to kill it.
I don't mean it'll literally vanish.
Well, let's see what happens.
Do you think Sony will stop supporting the Vita this year?
Or third parties?
Or third parties?
Yeah, maybe third party. Or just,
Well, third parties haven't even really started supporting the thing.
Let's see what happens when the PS4 is announced, because that is one thing I've got an inkling that Sony actually have, and I would hope if they got any sense, they've got a plan to really heavily integrate the Vita with the PS4. And if they can do that, If they, you know, hey,
Maybe your PS4 comes with a Vita.
Yeah. All you need to do is
Maybe
spend
second
Vita
screen
comes with a
experience
price.
right
$500.
there.
So then your Vita costs like $900 or something.
Well,
to,
I
like,
mean, no, but maybe
what are you
there
gonna
is
do with it?
some sort of integration that we've always wanted to see. I mean, transfarking never really transfarked up, did it? But I mean, maybe that is something that Sony will actually get a clue this year, and Kaz Hirai will turn around and say, "Yes, this is what we're doing." It's a distant hope.
Yeah.
You know, 2 steps forward, half a mile back. It's the Sony way,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
All right, and before we go, price predictions for the new consoles from each one of you, Marcus.
$399 to $450, no higher.
Okay.
No higher. In fact, I would probably say more on the $399 mark.
Justin.
$1.
But what happens if it comes with a Vita?
I don't want to go over.
Remember to have your
This is
pets
the price
spayed or
of the
neutered.
What happens if it comes with a Vita?
Okay, what did Marcus say again?
$399.
$398. $398.
Ryan, what's your
Who
prediction?
makes the flatware? I would say they're going to try to keep it low, 350 top. I think they're going to try to crush the Wii U, but I wouldn't be surprised, like we see Xbox Live have ads, I wouldn't be surprised if more and more things are subsidized with advertisements.
That's what I thought Justin was getting at, was kind of like how they have the $99 Xbox now, like a subscription thing, like a cell phone type deal.
I was totally just thinking prices right now.
Okay.
With Drew Carey now.
I would say I agree with Marcus. I think he hit it right on the head. I think they're going to be $399. I think both of them will take some losses on the hardware at that price. But I also think that you will see sort of this like rental thing that you can do where you can get the console for like $99, kind of like what they're doing with the Xbox now. You pay a monthly subscription fee, kind of rental fee to have the system. I mean, if you think about that, how much that can buoy their launch by offering it at that price. I just don't see any reason why they wouldn't do it. So I would say $399, and then on the flip side, also offering this other kind of rental mobile phone type process. So
Let me ask a question for everybody. Who's going to win the new console? Who will be in the pole position by the end of the year? Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo?
Ooh, yeah.
ooh yeah.
Project Shield!
I mean, I think at the end of the year it'll be impossible to tell. I mean, I think both Sony and Microsoft will sell out as many consoles as they can make.
Are they both even going to launch? I mean, what we think the
Yeah, this is really
next
fishing.
Xbox is going to launch. Who knows if the next Sony thing is going to
Sony's
launch?
coming this year.
It's pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can expect, I mean, we know that the countdown's already started to E3 from Microsoft. We know Sony is probably going to announce a couple of weeks before, and this is based on my discussions with PAC. I would say that Nintendo have 9 months to bring it, impress us, or
They're screwed.
I mean, and this, I'm sorry, Nintendo fanboys, you're going to have to get with the program. The system is not selling the huge amounts that the Wii did. The software is not looking as good as we've hoped. They've got to bring some kick-ass software in the first 9 months of this year, or otherwise they're going to die.
Well, the console will still be there. It's
No,
not like
their
everyone. It's not like
console
hardcore
won't
gamers
die.
love
No,
the
they will,
Wii.
but it'll be the.
It's going to be another GameCube.
Well,
Is
the Wii-
essentially what it's going to be. You're going to sell 20 million consoles to the fans, and Nintendo will make its games, and each one will sell a couple million copies. Nintendo will make a ton of money. Nobody else will. It'll live on, but it will be what most people would consider a failure.
So
Isn't
Nintendo
that
said
better than the Wii in a way? I mean, were you that excited about the Wii? Were you happy with the games that come out? Were you
That
happy
didn't
with the
matter
motion controls?
to me. It mattered to nursing homes and my mom.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
my-
exactly. Like, I
Nintendo-
don't,
But
if
the Wii
another
U doesn't
GameCube's
have that.
fine.
But that's
fine
what
for
we're
me.
saying. The Wii U does not have that support of that audience right now. Those people don't even know what the hell it is.
I think it's better
Nintendo has
for
said.
them to, sorry.
Nintendo has said that by March they expect to sell. They want to sell 5.5 million,
There's
which
no
means
way.
they have 3 months to sell 4.25 million Wii U's.
With no
because
software.
again, like it or not, they've only just topped 1 million. Just topped it. They are so far behind their schedule. They're embarrassed by it.
And what
They
game is going to save it?
Yeah, they need to step
Mario
up, and
Kart.
I'm bringing it because there's nothing in that first quarter that's really grabbing anybody by
Well,
the
my other
balls.
bold prediction is Mario Kart Q4. You can put that in
Juggernaut.
stone, cha-chunk, that's going to happen. Well, I don't know if we'll just see it at E3, but I would be shocked if Mario Kart doesn't come out this year for the Wii U.
E3 is going to be a shit ton of fun this year.
It's going to be awesome. I'm pretty excited for it. In fact, I'm excited for this whole damn year, 2013. Hope you guys are pumped as well. Like I said, DMC review on Monday. Check out our Ultimate Game Preview. I think that will also get you hyped for 2013. Thanks again for all your support in 2012. We're going to do some awesome stuff together this year. Invisible Walls is up and out.
See this and other GT shows and game reviews on the GT Originals iOS app, available now on the App Store.